Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of the Sport Rep Show. My name is Limba Mupetami and the weekend has arrived once again, and with it, sports events. Now, a lot will be at stake when Namibia's top cyclists line up for the Nedbank National Championships this weekend, with the National Championships being the main selection race for the Commonwealth Games in July. A great battle can be expected as Namibia's top cyclists rather vie for national colours as well as a spot on the Commonwealth Games team. Today, the National Time Trial Championship will take place it has already actually started at 3 o'clock, and tomorrow the National Road Race starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. You can catch the likes of Xavier Papu, Dricus Coetzee, Alex Miller and Dricus Coetzee in action, that is. So if you are on the streets and you see some cyclists, please just take some precaution there. Now, the 22nd edition of the popular Top Score 7-a-side football tournament will kick off today at the Ramblers Stadium as well. The tournament will see a total of 52 teams participating, and the kick-off is at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. The Cricket Premier League continues this weekend with 50 overs taking place at United and Wanderers Field starting at 9:30, with Trusco United going up against Windhoek Old Boys and Samsung Wanderers versus MR247 Velvicia on Saturday, with more games slated for Sunday. That, of course, is for cricket lovers. The third leg of Athletics Namibia's Coca-Cola Grand Prix will take place at Windhoek's Independence Stadium this weekend as well. The Grand Prix consists of 10 legs, and the first 2 legs attracted close to 200 athletes from 18 clubs hailing from across the country. However, the likes of Christine Boma and Beatrice Maselingi, who were part of the first 2 legs, will be missing in action as they have turned their attention to preparing for major global events. But of course, you can catch other local athletes as they take part in various events. One of the athletes being Aaron Narib. This is what he had to say. Have a look.
Yes, I'll be competing in the 100 meters as well as the 400 and the 4x1. The third leg of the Coca-Cola Grand Prix that will be taking place on Saturday, I believe, or over the weekend. My training has been going quite well. We have been trying new elements. We have been working on speed endurance to try and hopefully qualify for the Commonwealth Games in the 200. So these races will be part of my preparations for that, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for that, Aarons. Now, one of the most exciting and adrenaline-pumping events, the National Motocross Galena Series, starts this Saturday north of the capital city. The event will attract senior and junior men and women riders. Shane Levay from the Motorsport Federation had this to say as well. Please stay tuned for that.
So for the start of the 2022 motorcycle racing in Namibia, the first race will be held at Galena Motorcross just outside of Windhoek on the 5th of February. This racing will consist of 50s, 65s, 85s, 125s, and then you'll have also veterans classes, rookie classes, MX1. So there's quite a variance of racing classes for everybody to come and enjoy and bring the family and just see the riders of Namibia. This is motocross racing. For these that do not know, it consists of a certain track layout with different types of jumps in it. This racing forms part of a whole series which consists of 7 races throughout the year, which this year 4 of the events will be held at Galena Motocross, 1 in Gubabas, the other one will be held in Omaruru, and then also in Swakop there will be maybe an additional one in Swakop. We're just waiting to confirm on the dates. That will mean there might be 8 events and not just 7 for the year of 2022. In addition to this, the Namibian Enduro Club also arrange races throughout different parts of the country, which will consist of 8 events this year in total. and that will commence with the first Fundero, and then the season thereafter will start from March with 8 events throughout the year. This is an enduro thing, so you would basically have to be out in the bush, and it's more of a wildlife thing. You will be single track riding on different levels of skill levels, from rookies to basically intermediate riders to your pro riders. With addition to these events, in April it will be also the annual X race, which is the international race, which will be hosted in Namibia for all the international riders to come and join the local riders in the very, very hard enduro riding motorcycles, basically in the mountains and things like that. So if you've ever followed Roof of Africa, Erzberg, Red Bull Romaniacs, those are the type of riders which will come join the X race in Namibia on your home ground for 2022. That would be in April, just to repeat that for you guys. And thereafter, with that also, there is enduro, the off-road motorcycling. Off-road motorcycling consists of 5 events throughout the year, sometimes 4 events, all depends on who's arranging the races and where they will, which is usually Soyas, Keetmans, Kois and Oranje Munt. Those are more the Baja rally type off-road racing that you'll find. Motorcycles, those ones are not just limited to motorcycles, there's cars and different vehicles on those ones as well, single-seater buggies, but also quite a lot of motorcycles. Those one will be hosted, I think the first one is probably in about 2 or 3 months from now, and that will also be hosted in Namibia.
So, Mr. Shane, just maybe some familiar names that will be riding this weekend?
Look, this weekend you'll probably find Liam Gilchrist will be racing. He'd also only do half the season, and then he's actually going overseas and to go ride that side. The more familiar name, Mark Sternach, had a big accident at the end of last year, and we just put him out for the first half of the season while he's busy in recovery. From that, you'll basically see a lot of new names, up-and-coming riders from the 50cc's, which is the little youngsters. It's very nice and interesting to see. 65s is your second step after that, and then your classes basically escalates on the cc capacity of the engines, and it also with regards to the rider age groups as well. So for instance sakes, on the 85cc you've got small and big wheel riders. It all depends obviously with the length of the rider. So if they're still a little bit short, they can still ride an 85cc if they just take it on a small wheel. If they're a little bit taller, they can start riding the big wheels. And then with regards to the 125s, is the more action-packed one, which is, you'll probably see you've got a 125 junior class, and then this year we're introducing the 125 senior classes. And the 125 senior class is for all the riders that wants to get back into the sport, not expecting to go ride a 450 on the track, and just get used to it and get back into the game. The nice thing about the 125 is the competition is very, very big in that one as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Shane, and see you on Saturday.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now on to boxing news. Former unified world champion Julius Indongo returns to the scene of his greatest triumph, the United Kingdom, this weekend, hoping to revive his career. Well, Blue Machine faces Welsh favourite Chris Jenkins in Cardiff tomorrow. Indongo's last outing in the UK saw him dominate 3-weight world champion Ricky Burns of Scotland. Will he do it again? Marco Ndlovu, a local sports reporter, shares his 2 cents. Stay tuned. So this weekend, Julius Indongo is facing Chris Jenkins in the United Kingdom. What do you think are his chances against the Welshman?
Yeah, based on his previous fights, let's say 6 fights or so, I think a lot has happened in between that. If you look at the time he captured the 3 belts and to where we are right now, he has fought, let's say, 6 fights, and he has managed to win, I think 2 and lost 4. So that tells you the kind of journey that he has gone through. Also, if you look at the time that he last fought, it was last year. Last year he only had one fight in Tanzania, and he lost that fight in the fourth round. That's when he lost the fight. But then prior to that, he had actually won his fight in America. But he was coming back from 2 successive defeats. So he has been very inconsistent. That's number one. Number two, age is not on his side. He's 38 years old. And the fact that he hasn't fought in such a long time can also play against him. But it's also similar to his opponent, who has only fought, I think, 4 times in the last 5 years as well. So it's the fight is that of 2 underdogs, I mean, put it so. Sometimes you have one as a favorite and the other one as an underdog. But in this one, both of them are underdogs because they've had mixed results. They also have a similar record. If you look at it, I think they've all fought. The other one fought 24, the other one 22, and they've all lost for 4 fights. And all of them have been by knockout, by the way. For Julius Indongo, the furthest he has gone, I think it was 4 rounds against Taylor Crawford. That's when he was knocked on the 4th round. But all of them, he has been getting hammered 2nd round, 1st round, and so on and so forth. So it's 2 boxers also who don't like pain. They don't like getting hit. They are offensive boxers. So it's going to be an exciting fight. But I see if Julius can manage to go all the way, I see him winning it by points. I don't really see him, knocking him out, knocking his opponent out. And if he survives the first 4 or 5 rounds, he can go all the way and win the fight. And he knows what is at stake because he hasn't been fighting for such a long time, and he doesn't have so much time either. Going forward, he's 38. In the next 5-6 years, he has to retire. And for him to get back into the title shot, it needs him to win these fights, and this is one of the fights that he can redeem himself.
Okay, speaking about Indongo and his inconsistency, he moved from Nestor's camp, Nestor Sunshine camp, to AC's camp. Do you think that perhaps that has played a role rather in the way he's performing?
I think the reasons of him moving played a role in how his performances has been, because we know what happened when he was in America. It's an open secret that he was not already, when he went to fight Terence Crawford, there were already issues within that camp. He was with Nestor, but they were having issues, contractual issues, financial issues. At one point in time, he didn't even want to fight that fight with, Crawford. He wanted to pull out of the fight, but the contracts were already signed. He was going to be sued and lose a lot of money. So I think those reasons actually are the ones that have affected him. It's unfortunate in Namibia we don't have, not that we don't have, but our athletes do not consult sports psychologists. He still has unresolved issues that he needs to get out there. He needs to be psychologically taken care of. And it's not only him. Most of our athletes do not have psychological care. We don't really use sports psychology to actually get into the mind of the players and see what's really troubling them. And they bottle a lot. We know that men bottle a lot of stuff. They don't really express themselves, and he hasn't even come out and told us why he left Nestor Tobias Sunshine, that is the boxing academy. He hasn't explained his reasons for leaving, but we know that there were issues. People are whispering that there were issues. He didn't want to fight. So at the end of the day, those issues are the ones that have affected him. And if we want to be serious about these things, mental health is very important. We must take our sportsmen, take them to psychologists, and make sure that they speak about these things. Make sure that their psychology is okay. When you go into a fight, you are happy. You can't go into a fight and you expect him to perform well. You always have those remnants of, or you always have those thoughts of saying, look, I'm fighting outside the ring and I'm fighting inside the ring. You're not really ready. So psychologically, I don't think he has sorted out his issues. It has affected his performance. And obviously, moving from one step to another, it's a different environment, a different way of doing things. And he's also doing a lot because I think he's a shareholder within the AC Boxing Academy. So it puts him under pressure to do management. At the same time, he trains younger boys, and then he has to focus on himself as well. Whereas at Sunshine, management was left to management to deal with it. All he had to do was to show up at the gym, train, and go and fight. So that change also, you need to be psychologically ready for it. But for him, it happened at the snap of the finger, and I think it did affect him, and it makes it difficult for him to actually win some of these fights.
All right, just two things, Marco. Do you think that Namibian boxers sometimes, if you look at the age of Indongo, for instance, do you think that sometimes they pick fights for money?
I mean, boxing is a money sport, so yes, the money aspect is always there. But with sports nowadays, athletes with sports science coming into play, athletes can go all the way to 45, 50 years still fighting. You've seen Mike Tyson. He made a comeback in the ring, and he did perform very well. You couldn't say it's a 50, 60-year-old somebody. So with sports science coming in, athletes can go even further in terms of age. But of course, the older you get, the more you focus on money. So yes, money plays a crucial role. Yes, Namibian boxers, most of them have been picking up fights just for the money. If I can make 40,000 US dollars in one night, why not?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I can come here and build myself a house in Komasdal with that 40,000, or buy myself a car, or take care of my debts that I have. So yeah, they do. It does play a role in terms of Namibian boxers picking up fights. So, but I wouldn't say all of them, and I wouldn't say they do it for that. He's a former world champion. Obviously, he made a lot of money. So you couldn't be picking up with Ndongo. He couldn't be picking up fights for money. But yes, money is involved. He has to make money in the sport.
And lastly, Marco, when you fight on foreign soil, you know, most of the time what happens is that most of the boxers end up losing. So if you had to give advice to Indongo, would you say that he should, you know, maybe go for a knockout, you know, just to end the match and walk away with a win, and not try and go far with the rounds?
Yeah. With any sport, if you're fighting away from home, already you're at a disadvantage because you're in unfamiliar territory or surroundings. You have the crowd against you. If you're fighting a hometown athlete in boxing this time around, or if you're playing, even if it's football, you know, you face all those things: the fans, the surroundings, the food, the culture, the weather. You know, all those things play a big role in whatever you do. So for Julius, if he has to win this one, remember he won the title in Russia. And what did he do? He went for a knockout. First punch, the guy was out, and he won the 3 titles that he had. He went to Scotland to fight Ricky Benz. He dominated him from round 1 to round 12, and it ended up being a unanimous decision. And you know, which was good, you know, which was good. So at the end of each fight, you must make sure that you have done enough to win the fight, whether it's by knockout or by unanimous decision or majority decision. You must make sure that you have done enough. You don't leave any space for the judges.
All right. Thank you so much, Marco.
All right. Cool.
Well, best of luck to Indongo as he faces Chris Jenkins on Saturday in Cardiff. Now, with that, we move over to Ari Hogard as he brings us international news.
Good day, everyone. It's time for international sport, and we start off with the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics that's in full swing. Most events, or some events, started off a few days before the opening ceremony. That was curling and figure skating and ice hockey. And we start off with the women's ice hockey, and it was host nation China that played against Denmark, and it was China that came out winners by 3-1 in that first game. And then also on the ice hockey, it was the United States. They were too strong for Finland, and their winning score was 5-2. Also in the figure skating, it was Alexia Kuyerim and Brendan Fraser in the mixed figure skating. They did well in their performance, their first time on the ice rink, and they scored a personal best of 75.00. That's still the preliminary rounds, but a good start for the American pair. Let's move on to some soccer news. A big event. It's the African Cup of Nations coming to an end this weekend, and it is the final that's going to be played between Egypt and Senegal. Dramatic game that decided the final. It was Egypt that beat Cameroon on penalties. The game ended 0-0 after normal play time, also extra time, still 0-0. It went to penalties, and it's Egypt that won by 3-1. News from that game is that the Egypt coach Carlos Queiroz will not be able to be on the sideline. He can be in the stands, but he got a red card for dissent on the sideline just on the 90 minutes of normal play. So third and fourth place playoff will then be between Burkina Faso and Cameroon, the host nations, and the final of the African Cup of Nations 2022 will be decided between Egypt and Senegal. And let's move on to some cycling news. There's two big cycling tours happening at the same time. The first one we look at is the Tour de Valencia, and it was the stage 2, over 172 kilometers. And it was quite a difficult stage for everyone. There were 5 big climbs in the 172 kilometers. But the winner that came through in the sprint in the end was Fabio Jacobsen. He is from the Netherlands, and he is from the team Quick Step. He was the winner in 4 hours and 9 minutes. Still, the overall leader after stage 2 is Remco Evenepoel, and he is from the Quick Step Alpha team. Also taking place at the moment is the Saudi Tour, and it was the second stage that was concluded. It was not as hilly as the Tour de Valencia. It was quite a flat stage, the stage 3, 181 kilometers, and it also came down to the sprinters. And the winner again from the Netherlands, it was Dylan Groenewegen, and he won in a time of 5 hours and 11 minutes. In the Tour de Saudi, after the third stage, the overall leader is still Sadio Boutago. Let's move on to some golf news. That's on the European Tour first, the DP World Tour, and that's the event being played at the moment in United Arab Emirates. The tournament is the Ras Al Khaimah tournament played, and the leader at the moment is Sebastian Hazeler of Germany and also Scott Jameson of Scotland. So they both played 65, that's 7 under par. Just one shot back is Brendan Stone from South Africa. He's on 6 under par. Then on the Asian Tour, it is the Saudi International that's been played at the Royal Green Golf Club. Lots of high-profile players that's playing in that tournament, and some of the American top-ranked players as well. At the moment, after the first round, it's Matteo Massero from Italy that is leading on 62. That is 8 under par. And 2 Americans that is closely behind him at the moment is Bubba Watson. He's on 6 under par after a 64. And then also Dustin Johnson. He finished on a 65. That is 5 under par. In the women's tour in the USA, United States, it's the Drive On Championship that's being played at the Fort Myers Golf Club. Leading at the moment, Marina Alex from the USA on 7 under par. Nasa Hatuaka from Japan, also 7 under par. And then world number 1, Nelly Korda, she battled a bit. She came in with a level par 72. And to conclude, there's also some rugby news. It's the Heineken Six Nations that starts this weekend. The first game will be Wales, the defending champion. They will travel to Ireland for the first game. Then also on Saturday, Scotland will host England. And on Sunday, it is France that will host Italy. And on the cricket field, it is the final of the ICC Under-19 World Cup. And that will be played between India and England. So that's the sports news for today. Hope you have a great day. We talk again international sports. Till then, goodbye.
Thank you so much, Ari, for that international coverage. Now, we've come to the end of today's show. Catch us again on Monday as we bring you a jam-packed edition of what is going to take place over the weekend. That is with cycling and cricket and so much more. So catch us again on Monday, and it's goodbye from us from here.